Hello class 8 and welcome back to your online classes. Today we will be continuing with the chapter Glimpses of the Past from your main course book. So take out your main course book, take out page number 36 and take out a pencil with you as well. So we have already started this chapter in the Skype classroom. In this segment, we will be continuing with the chapter, and I think before your next Skype class, I want all of you to go through the entire chapter and to understand what the chapter deals with. Okay, so glimpses of the past. From the name itself, we can understand that this chapter is going to give us a view about the historical incidents which happened in our country during the British rule. Okay, how the East India Company came to India and how they started forming their increasing their territory. Okay, starting a colonial government. Okay, colonial rule on India. So they did a lot of things systematically. And what was the condition of the Indians under that on those early days when the Britishers came here, how the Indians reacted, how they were oppressed, what led to the incident which is called in history as the First War of Independence and which was previously biasedly called as the Revolt of 1857. Okay, it was a way that the British historians, they projected that mutiny which happened, which started with the sepoys, which happened with the soldiers under the regiment of the British rule, but it actually was it happened in such a massive scale and with such massive participation throughout India that it is termed nowadays as the First War of Independence. So we are going to find out all about that in this chapter. Okay, the first two pages I think I have done in the class, so I will just go through with it. I will just skim through that part that we have done. The first part, the first page 36, page number 36, you see the heading is given is the martyrs. Okay, the people who have sacrificed their life for saving us, for their patriotic feelings made them so much courageous that they fought against the Britishers, bravely fought against them, and they have even sacrificed their own lives to give us independence. Okay, so here we see a picture of Lata Mangeshkar singing that famous patriotic song and a function in Delhi. In the next page, the company's conquest takes us back to the early days when the Britishers came to India. Okay, how they came under a trading company, that is the East India Company, and how the East India Company widened their scope. They started increasing their initial intention, that is they had come here as a trading company, but what did they become? They started ruling, they started becoming administrators of territories which were seized by them. Now how did they do it? They did it very systematically and very shrewdly. They utilized the fact that the Indian princes were always fighting amongst each other. Okay, amongst themselves, between themselves they were fighting, and the Britishers, they took advantage of this, and they understood that if we can make this division in the Indian society more prominent, then it will be helpful for us. So sometimes they would support one king against the other king in a fight, in a battle, because they had the machine, they had the guns, better guns, okay, better weapons they had. And so sometimes they would support one side in a war, and the moment this side won, they would take away certain territory from them as a gift. Okay, or it was part of their treaty. Now this happened and this increased more and more, and in a few months they were able to, in a few years they were able to annex a lot of India. Okay, so in this page we are coming across the reaction of the common Indians about the Britishers, how they were reacting to them. Some people said that it's a positive thing for the society, that Indian society was blemished by so many different wars, okay, and so many princes were fighting amongst each other. We were also being oppressed, so the Britishers had come to give us peace. They are like the messiahs of God. Okay, they had come to relieve us, they had come to give us peace. While some other Indians, they argued saying that no, at least till this time, we were ruled by people from our nation. That is, native rulers ruled us, but now these foreigners who look nothing like us, they have come here, and they even speak a foreign tongue. They don't even speak our tongue, and they have come and they are making us their slaves. Okay, so this was the two different views. Now come to the next page, come to page number 38. Let us continue with what happened after it. Okay, so let us read. British rule 1765 to 1836. So this period of time will be covered in this page. Okay, so this chapter actually seems like something you would read in history, right? But as I said, literature covers everything. Literature is the story of us. Okay, story of everything. So it's a story, and it is a real story. It's not a fiction, it's a fact. It's a factual story, it's a historical story, but it's a story nonetheless, and it is given in a very attractive form. It is given in pictorial form so that you can have a better vision of what was happening. Okay, it is to make the lesson more appealing to us. Okay, so come to page number 38 and look at the book. Follow the book. See, in the first two pictures on the top of the page, we see that religious leaders are saying false things, completely prejudiced things, which are extremely bad. Okay, so what are they saying? Religious leaders preached ideas like untouchability and child marriage. Okay, both are really bad, and they were misogynist. That means they were always against women. They did not like the fact that women will get independence, and they would blame everything, whatever happened in the society which was being wrong done in the society, and it was due to women. Okay, they did not even permit women to get educated. Okay, so many things were wrong with the society. So this is an impartial view of the society at that time. Let us read. Religious leaders preached ideas like untouchability and child marriage. Untouchability, child marriage, I think you have a good idea about that. Untouchability, there were certain castes. It was a caste system which happened in India at that time, and there were certain castes who were marked as untouchables by the religious leaders, and they were completely separated from the mainstream society. They had to live on the outskirts of villages and towns, and they had a completely different life. Okay, they were chosen to do the menial labors, and they were not allowed to go to temples also. Okay, so they had a bad life. And child marriage was another social evil that happened during that time. That means any girl who was like 8 or 9 years old, they were married off. Okay, to sometimes much older men used to marry. Polygamy was also a thing which was very common in those days, especially among the Brahmin caste. Polygamy was common. That means a Brahmin was allowed to have more than one wife. Okay, I'm not exactly factually sure at which age it happened, but I think it happened during this time. So like this, certain things were there in the society, certain things were happening in the society which was not right, which was quite wrong. So preached ideas like untouchability and child marriage. What is the meaning of preach? Preaching means to deliver a sermon or a religious address. Okay, so the religious leaders, they preach to us, they give us a sermon. Okay, they say that it's actually God's saying. Okay, they give lots of different things, lots of different theories in the name of God. So this is what they preached. Now look at this first guru who is wearing a garland, and he is telling something to the people gathered around him. Anyone who crosses the seas loses his religion. So this is the first thing he is saying. That is, crossing the sea means you will lose your religion, which stopped many people from becoming merchant in ships. Okay, so they were restricted to their land. This was an unfounded fear and completely unfounded superstition. The second page you see, in the second picture you see, all the misery in the world is due to women. Oh my God. So he is just preaching that for women, all the misery in the world is happening. So this is again another false claim. Now come to the next picture. The truth was that Indians had lost self-respect. The British scorned them. Self-respect as well as originality. That means in India, which was there during the Vedic times. In those times, Indians were really educated, even the women were educated, and everything, the society used to work on a very systematic and scientific basis. But those things started losing, and Indians lost their self-respect. They forgot their originality. They forgot that they were the land where the first civilizations of the world had flourished. Okay, so, and they also forgot the fact that they have so many things to be proud of in their culture, and they did not have to stick to customs and rituals and superstitions which were fully without any good effect. Okay, they did not have any good effect on the society, and they did not have to stick to those customs, but many people did, and they lost their self-respect. British scorned them. Scorn means they expressed contempt. To express contempt or disdain or dislike or hatred towards another, that is called scorning. So the Britishers felt hatred towards them, felt kind of contemptuous towards them, did not like it, did not like the fact that Indians did not have a self-pride. Okay, so it was easy for them to dominate them, right? If you don't have confidence in yourself, if you don't have self-respect, if you don't know your self-worth, then people will come and they will dominate you, they will oppress you, they will make you feel even worse about yourself. And it was easy for the Britishers to do so because the Indians didn't have a guide in that manner. So look at the next picture. Here you see, in this picture itself, you see a Britisher, two Britishers are talking among themselves, and they are saying, the natives are unworthy of trust, incapable of honesty. Unworthy means they should not be trusted. They are not worthy of being trusted. And incapable of honesty. They are incapable of honest behaviors. Okay. Now this man who is standing at the back, probably he is working as a servant to these Britishers, and he is saying, true, your honor, but I am honest. So he is saying that yes, true, my whole community is not good, they are bad, and I accept whatever you are saying, but I am honest. I am an honest slave of you. So see how much degrading, he is degrading his own community, and just to please the Britishers. Okay, so come to the next picture. Being merchants, the British wanted quick profits. Their heavy taxes forced farmers to abandon their fields. So as they had a merchant kind of mentality, okay, because they were the people of the East India Company, right? So these Britishers, they wanted some profit made from India. And so they started posing heavy taxes on the farmlands. That means whoever had the farmlands under their administration, they would take a lot of taxes from them just to make a lot of profit. Okay. And so the farmers were forced to abandon their lands. They were not able to meet up the taxes of the Britishers. So they had to leave their land. They had nowhere to go. They left their land also to the Britishers. So see, this native man is arguing with a Britisher, and he's saying, but your men are taking all my crop. Then this man is saying, you are still in arrears. If you don't pay next week, I will send you to jail. Okay, arrears means money that is owed. Okay, arrears means money that is owed to somebody. That means that you are still in arrears. That means you still owe us money. And so, even if my men are taking away all your crops, you have got no right to say anything about it. Okay, just accept it. Now come to the next picture which is given. Still, the British invented other methods which gave them more profits. So you see, even after forcefully taking lots of taxes from the farmers, they even started taking more methods. So whatever they could suck out from the Indians, they would take them. Okay, and there was a heavy drain of wealth which was happening. Remember the concept drain of wealth? I think you have read it in history. Okay. So still the British invented other methods which gave them more profit. So what other methods were invented by the Britishers? Let us find out. The goods manufactured in England should not have any import duty when brought into India. Duty means tax. Okay, here duty means tax. So this Britishers, they are having a conversation amongst themselves, and they are making up another trick how to get more money or how to make more money from the Indians. And what is this man saying? he is saying that let us do something. Whatever goods which are manufactured in England, by that time industrial revolution has already happened in England, and the people from England, lots of finished products were being imported into the Indian market. So this man was saying we should not give any tax, extra tax for importing goods from England, so that our profit becomes more. Okay, so this man is saying a good idea. The East India Company's laws began to cripple Indian industries. That means they started making the Indian industries disabled. Okay, Indian industry was crippling under them, was becoming like disabled. They were not able to function at all. Now look at this picture. Here you see an artisan and his family. Okay, the artisan is very sick and looking very weak. Okay, because this Britishers, they were importing finished products from their own country, from England into India at a cheap rate. Most Indians were buying stuff from them. So the artisans who were of native origin, that means Indian artisans, they could not complete, they did not have a market to sell their products. Okay, so as a result of that, they were suffering from too much poverty. So see the last picture which is given. Inevitably, famines followed. That means famines means a period of time when people don't have food, sufficient food, scarcity of food is there. Okay. Between 1822 and 1836, 15 lakh Indians died of starvation. They died of starvation. They could not eat. They died out of hunger. Just imagine how pathetic the scene was. The British policies ruined the expert artisans and their business. The British policy, that is importing things without duty, giving finished products into the market, and this made the Indian artisans, that means people who were workers in a skilled trade, are called artisans. Artisans are workers in a skilled trade. So the artisans of Indian origin, they were suffering a lot, and their business was also failing because of the policy of the Britishers. Okay, so here we come to an end of this page. So we will be continuing in the next session. Please go through this chapter. It is full of different concepts and full of historical facts which happened during that time. Social issues, political issues, economic issues, all of these things we got today in this class. Okay, so study the rest of the chapter, and if you have any problem, do communicate with me. Thank you.